But yeah, essentially another week of somewhat tepid, mediocre news coming in from the points world. Nothing super great up until yesterday. Yesterday and day before, I think, were the big ones, particularly with Scotiabank. Basically released a slew of offers for their credit card and bank account offers. And what they did was, I mean, the best offer right now that they announced in the last couple of days is obviously for the ultimate and the preferred package, which is the checking accounts. And that's simply because they have made that cash bonus a solid $1,000. It was uh, $700 up until 2 days ago, but now it's a solid $1,000. And the way they are splitting it is pretty easy now, easier because I remember up until 3 days ago, anybody that was running for that acquisition of the $700 bonus had to have, I think, somewhere around four or $5,000 sort of parked in their savings account. That was one of the requirements, and that requirement has gone away as well. So now it makes it super sort of straightforward and easy. So for anyone that's looking for in your household that you're looking for uh, getting a checking account offer, this might be the time to do it and go with Scotia because they are right now the highest. The closest is BMO, but BMO still has a couple of steps that require a bit more money involved. But the $1,000 by Scotiabank for their ultimate and preferred accounts, yeah. So the first $700 actually comes in pretty straightforward by just opening the account and getting one recurring deposit into the account, and then using your Visa debit for one purchase or a bill payment. It's as simple as that. And so that was the first $700 as welcome bonus. The next $200 is Money Master Savings Account Bundle. So you have to open up a Money Master Savings account and simply open the account and automate some savings. There's no minimum. So even if you automate, say, $10, $50 every month into that account, that'll trigger the 200 in the first 60 days or so. And then the last $100 is a credit card bundle bonus. So basically get approved for an eligible credit card and start using it or make one purchase using that card. And your cash parking in your savings account has gone out the window. So there's none of that. All you have to do is start using it and automate a simple amount into that account. And then for the credit card bonus, the list of eligible credit cards includes a lot of organically free credit cards that you can go for. It's not just the premium cards. So you can even sign up for a no fee, traditional no fee card and trigger that credit. So which is, again, fantastic way of doing it. Keeps it very straightforward. Continuing on with our credit cards by Scotia. Scotia basically announced a couple of newer offers, elevated offers, and then also made a couple of offers that were going on. They extended the offers. So let's look at a few of them. The Scotia Amex Platinum card is up to 100,000 Scene Plus points now and is available until November 1st, which is fantastic. Uh, Scotia Amex Gold card is up from 45,000 to 50,000 points and is also now available until November 1st, which is again fantastic, slightly better offer. And the good news is Passport Visa Infinite offer, a Visa Infinite Plus offer has been extended. So the current offer of 60,000 Scene Plus points has been extended to August 3rd. It was expiring in July, but now they've extended that by a full month, which is great news. And likewise for Momentum, Visa Infinite Plus has been extended to November 1st. So not only now, and they've added another attribute to that acquisition, which is not only do you get 15% cash back on all purchases in the first 3 months, you now also get, if you are a new cardholder, you also get a 0% interest rate on balance transfers for the first full year. So that makes it not only the best cashback card offer, I would want to say that in terms of getting low percentages for balance transfers, that card now becomes amazing combo of getting cashback plus transfer bonus offer if that's what you're looking to do for some of your other um, higher interest fee sort of balances that you might want to consolidate.
I will
But
say
yeah,
that if
yeah,
like I
definitely.
feel like if you want to take advantage of the 0% balance transfer thing, make sure you do all your $2,000 of spend before you do that balance transfer because once your card has a balance on it and then you're like further spending and then you only want to pay like what you're currently spending and not your balance transfer. I know this is the case with like MBA and other cards I've seen people use. Like sometimes there are problems with the way the interest is like calculated on that. So my hunch is like once you use a card for a balance transfer, that you should not be like using this card for any of your regular
Really?
things.
Okay,
Okay,
because it
by
does.
balance transfer, I'm specifically talking about moving money to bank account. I think this allows that. Most credit cards will allow that if they're offering the 0%. I don't
Not
know if it's different if you move a credit card balance in.
Yeah, not all of them, but I can confirm that MBNA definitely allows you both those options. So MBNA will allow you to transfer your balance or cover the balance for another credit card, or also move the money to a checking account if that's what you wanted to do. But not, I don't think all banks do that. Most banks with their balance transfer offers will only allow you to cover balances from other cards and things like that directly, but not necessarily move it to a checking account
Oh,
and still count for that 0% offer. So you may want to read the details. The only way I know this is because I already have a line of credit with Scotiabank, and sometimes they will send me like a low offer I recently got was 2% or something like that. And I quickly looked it up. And when I checked, it, of course, didn't allow me to move anything to checking. Not that I was going to, but it was allowing me to cover everything for another card if I wanted to. But the MBNA card, which I often use for business purposes, I'm able to use that to cover not only credit card balances if I wanted to, but also move it to a business checking account or wherever else I want that money sitting. So yeah, good point.
yeah.
It might be
It's
something you may want to look at.
CIBC will let you move to checking also
Oh,
if you
nice.
ever get one of the balance transfer. It seems to come in honestly shockingly often in the current economy. Like like
100%.
with
I mean,
all banks, I mean, offering this.
I've had the whatever that card is called, the MBNA card, for eons now, and it just sits in my drawer because it's a no fee card, or a very low fee card. And if I haven't used anything, I typically call them and tell them, hey, I haven't used the card at all, and they'll waive that for me. So it's been in my sock drawer for about a decade now. And then my Scotia line of credit back in the day when I initially got it and used it again sits as a zero balance thing. So the amount of offers they send you every 2, 3 months is incredible. The catch there obviously is the one flat fee that they charge you. So you of course have to do account that in your number. So it's never truly 0%. I mean, your transfer, there's always a bit of a transfer fee that digs in, sometimes 1.5, 2%. I've seen transfer fees up to 3%. So you have to calculate all of those before you try and maneuver any of your money in and out of those accounts. Um, Rachel, I was going to do this a bit later, but now you're here and up and running. So you want to take us through some of the status matches? You wrote a really nice post about status match to One World, Sapphire, or even SkyTeam Elite Plus, particularly from a Canadian lens. And you had Kenya Airways as one of the most valuable ones. And then there was one more that you thought was super valuable, right? Take us through a couple of those as to why Canadians should pay attention to that. That would be nice for everyone to hear.
So I'll just drop the link in the comments here. If basically there's a whole slew of status offers that have come out. One that got a lot of attention a little while ago was a match from Vietnam Airlines, because they are accepting Canadian and US residents to match to SkyTeam Elite Plus, which is like it's like Star Alliance Gold, but for SkyTeam. So think like Air France, the KLM, um, who else is in there? I guess SAS now, Delta, that kind of thing. So if you match to SkyTeam Elite Plus, you get it for 12 months. You do need Air Canada. It doesn't have to be Air Canada. You need Air Canada or I can't remember now, maybe United. Like you have to match your status over, but the typical tier that they will accept is 50K and above. So generally, if you're Aeroplan 50K and above, you will be able to status match to SkyTeam Elite Plus. There is a fee. This is with Vietnam Airlines. I think if you want to match at the top tier, they're charging like 399 US. So a much more exciting opportunity that just launched like a couple days ago, I believe, is the status match with Kenya Airways, which will also status match you to the top tier SkyTeam Elite Plus. But Kenya Airways is accepting hotel status also. So like Marriott Gold, I think, is enough, and Hilton Gold is enough to match to SkyTeam Elite Plus, and you can get that just by holding your Amex Platinum or your Amex Business Platinum, or like it's pretty easy to get gold status these days. So, and it's cheaper to match the top tier. It's only 299 US for 12 months versus Vietnam is charging 349 or 329, something like that. So it's cheaper with Kenya Airways and they're accepting hotel status. That's what makes it the most exciting opportunity all around.
Mm.
Because no other airline right now, as part of the current offerings, it is accepting hotel status, or they're accepting hotel status not from Canadian or US residents.
I had a question for you. So oftentimes I would say that, oh, if you're basically traveling business class or first, you don't need to bother with a lot of these. But then what really gives value to some of these status matches is if you have even one trip, if not two or so, coming up, say using Air France KLM, and you wanted to jump in on that Kenya Air offer. Does SkyTeam have what's the Star Gold Lounge? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they do. They do have their own lounges, but they're kind of lagging. Just to be frank, they're kind of lagging Star Alliance and Oneworld in
Mm,
terms of opening like SkyTeam branded lounges. You will get access to like the Air France business class lounge and whatnot if you're flying economy.
yep.
Um, you'll also get Delta Sky Club, access if you're flying Delta economy across the US. So you will get that. I think the SkyTeam status is most valuable if you have any economy flights. But specifically, like I know a lot of us are redeeming points for long haul, right? But if you're flying like within Europe, it makes a lot of sense
Hmm.
to fly in economy. And for those circumstances, I think it makes a huge difference with like your baggage, priority check-in, like that kind of thing. Like that will add up pretty
Would I
fast.
would I be able to redeem for WestJet, say, um, if I'm flying, say, somewhere to the States and still access the Delta lounges through this status match?
That's a
Or
great
is that,
question. I don't know. I don't think WestJet is actually in SkyTeam.
yeah, they're not, which is why
Yeah,
the question becomes a gray one, right? In terms of you still have your elite status with SkyTeam Plus or whatever that is. And if you're going in and out, if I guess, yeah, I guess not. If you are, but if you were actually, if you were redeeming Delta points for WestJet, I think that should still work because it will technically code as a Delta ticket, right? Uh,
it'll look like a Delta ticket. Yes.
that's correct. And
Uh,
same should happen with Air France. If you're using your Flying Blue miles, shouldn't it code as whatever the 014 equivalent is for Air
yeah.
France?
So you mean like redeeming Flying Blue for a flight from US to Canada, right? Because all the Delta
Yeah,
lounges.
sure.
Yeah. I do think that's an interesting circumstance.
Yeah,
I
because now
think,
there's three airlines sort of
yeah,
tied
that
into
is,
that, right?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
But you do get Sky Club access with your Amex anyway, though, with your Amex Platinum.
yeah,
Yes,
I
including
mean,
the ticket. Yeah.
if you're not lining up or if they haven't locked you out because there's already a lineup.
So I think Delta does not actually remove platinum members from the line. This is a huge controversy with Delta Elites because they make so much money where they get a lot of revenue from their Amex like co-branded cards that like they're so crowded. So the Delta Elites are like, just take it off the platinum card, leave it on the because there's already a Delta Reserve with like super high annual fee. So they're like, why do you still get access with your platinum card? And Delta, keeps allowing access with the platinum card. I think because they have a very close relationship with Amex, they did limit it to like 6 visits a year or something like that,
Okay,
to the Delta Sky Club. But like even with SkyTeam Elite Plus, you're not going to have access to the Delta One lounges,
that's
just
correct.
the Delta Sky Clubs. So, which
Yeah,
is the
I
case
mean,
across a couple alliances too. Like this isn't, exclusive to SkyTeam.
yeah, in my mind, I sort of slot Delta One similar to Polaris and things like that. You're not going to get access to it unless you're flying the airline in business class or whatever else. So yeah, fairly restricted that way. But the good thing is, oftentimes, if you're going from US to Canada, those Canadian flights count as international flights. So
Mm.
you do get access to the Delta clubs, as we were talking about earlier, which is always good. And same with Star Alliance as well. Um, just as we were talking about it, if it'll be recognized or what and not, I got a question, or we had a comment in one of our streams that we did recently, and the question was basically, long story short, they don't like Air Canada as much. They would rather not fly Air Canada, but the work keeps booking them into Air Canada. But the question was, where would you where would you collect points while flying Air Canada if it was not to Aeroplan? And my immediate gut feel was, wouldn't that be United? But then, of course, based on what ticket fare or what fare bucket you are being booked at, does your gut feel say the same, United, or are there others that we don't typically think of, and we should be while we are flying Air Canada that we could collect those points in a different program?
Interesting proposition. My gut says United
Yeah.
also. Um,
Oh,
so my thing is like unless you're going to reach a really meaningful tier of status that's easier with another airline, like you just want to collect the most useful points. Like you want to collect points in a currency that you can top up with your credit card points or that you can redeem directly. Because having like a small pile of Lufthansa miles or more isn't necessarily going to help you if you can't like grow your stash of miles and more. So that's kind of my
yeah.
first thought.
Yeah,
But
same. And
also, why not collect Aeroplan? Aeroplan's pretty great.
I think they are just, in their own words, whoever wrote this comment, it's in one of our streams on YouTube. They said, yes, I'm being petty, but I don't want anything to do with Air Canada, but my work keeps booking me on Air Canada or whatever. So
Okay.
I thought, oh, interesting. But yeah, I think we're aligned in that. My exact thought and then my response in that comment to them was, yeah, try United. It will be based on your fare bucket because maybe if you're being booked in basic economy, you won't get any points whatsoever. But if you are getting some points, you may as well keep it to United because then at least you have a United card here in Canada to leverage a few more points in there and make some meaningful redemptions and things like that. Because again, life miles and things, those came to my mind, but I didn't think it would be as straightforward in terms of leveraging more points to then make a meaningful redemption. Or just we
Yeah.
Turkish is pretty good if you want to qualify for Star Gold, fair enough. Uh, my biggest, and this is again about a decade old thing sitting in my mind, is Turkish redemptions. Always, if you don't get it done directly online, it just always is a bit of a pain to deal with them, especially when it comes to calling them or making any changes or doing anything. Customer service has not been the best or had not been the best. I had several folks actually in my work, my previous work, uh, who had status matched Air Canada into Turkish, and then they used it for a year or so, and they thought their lives were a bit more miserable than they were before with Air Canada. But this is pre 2020 Air Canada or Aeroplan rather.
I
Um,
think this is still the case. And
I like
sorry,
how you waited for me to finish my rant, and then you're like, "Yep, still the case. Let's move
can
on."
we can we switch gears real quick to go back to the status match thing? I wanted to
Yeah.
say something else. Uh, we talked about SkyTeam Elite Plus. The other really valuable status match that I think people should pay attention to is actually the Royal Jordanian status match right now. They will match you to One World Sapphire. That's the highest tier you can get. You do need it's airline only, so the easiest way is with Aeroplan. I think it's also 50K and above. Or WestJet Gold and above will work too if you have WestJet status. The main benefit here is keep in mind like British Airways and like Qatar will charge you for seat selection, right? So if you're paying Royal Jordanian, it's really cheap. Royal Jordanian is only charging 150 USD, 149, like
Hmm.
149 USD to match to One World Sapphire with your Air Canada or status. That's like the equivalent of one seat, like one seat selection if
Yeah.
you yeah, if you're gonna pay for that. Or if you're like redeeming for two people, like it easily kind of pays for itself pretty quick. If you're booking queue suites for like more than two people, then obviously, that adds up too. I say this specifically because this doesn't apply in SkyTeam. Air France will still charge you seat selection
Hmm.
fees
Hmm.
if you're a SkyTeam Elite Plus, but One World will not. Like the One World Airlines will not charge you seat selection fees if you are One World Elite.
That's a
And
great
then
benefit.
yeah, also within North America, you get access to the American Airlines like business class lounges if you have status with a foreign airline, which includes Royal Jordanian, right?
Yeah.
And unlike the Delta lounges, you're not going to have access with your Platinum card or any other card except the super expensive AA co-branded card in the US, right?
Aren't there
But
some nicer British Airways and Cathay lounges that you get access to as well, as
yeah,
long as
yeah.
you're, yeah,
As long as you're one with Sapphire, you get access to the Cathay business class lounges in Hong
yeah,
Kong. You get
right.
access like it's pretty great actually, I think all
Yeah, I think
around.
in that trio of alliances, if I had to have like the gold or higher status, I would choose One World purely
Yes.
for having that easy access to seat selection, like you said, which I wasn't thinking of, and then the additional lounges that you typically would not get access to if you didn't have that kind of access or status rather. Um,
Yeah, exactly. And it's only 149 like compared to the SkyTeam one, it's just 299. So it is only for 12 months. So depending on your travel patterns, obviously you should match to, where it makes sense for you. But I think this one's actually really compelling. It's just that Royal Jordanian is not accepting hotel status, which makes it like a
mhm.
harder, like a higher barrier
Yeah,
to.
that Kenya
Yeah.
Airways one seems a little too generous for its own good. You're like, yeah, get your Marriott Gold and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's why. So all of these don't have a end date. Like I checked through none of
Mm.
them have
Oh,
announced
but
any end date. It's just they can
it
pull it whatever they want.
exactly. It's always
So
critical number that they're looking for as soon as they get their
exactly.
number. It's like an Amex offer, right? There's no technical end date, or even if there's an end date, they can pull it as soon as X number of people have registered.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say if you're interested to maybe do it sooner rather than later, just because they can pull it whenever they want.
100%. Greg is saying Life Miles cannot book Lufthansa business anymore since April, I believe. Life Miles used to be good because you could always buy miles. In the US, there are several good One World lounges. I would prefer those over AA or AS lounges in many cities. Fair enough. Let's
Yeah.
track back to that Life Miles comment, and then I'll give you a quick, short uh, insight. Rachel wrote to me saying, "Hey, Lufthansa is dead. Can we write a post on that? Lufthansa first class is dead on partners. Can we write a post on that?" This was back in June, right? June 2nd or 3rd. You messaged me and I said, "Oh, let's wait for a few weeks to make sure that this is not a glitch and it's actually a thing that it's dead, dead." So where are we, Rachel? Is it actually dead, dead? Somebody,
So
I think one of the boarding area blogs wrote a post about still seeing phantom availability, but it truly is phantom availability.
So not only is Lufthansa first class dead, but just yesterday, Matthew from Live and Let's Fly, onboarding area, wrote that Lufthansa Group business class is completely gone. I have not yet verified since he wrote about it yesterday, but that would be horrific if that were the case. I think
I'll
that
I'll tell you this. 2 days ago, like literally on Canada Day, maybe, I was looking at some flights on Aeroplan to go to Mumbai or Delhi. I saw plenty of Lufthansa business class availability going in and out of Frankfurt and Munich into India, particularly. So I don't know if it's like past 1st of July change, but it at least at the very minimum tells you that something is being tweaked on the back end by Lufthansa, that these inventories are going like completely zero and then coming back in or showing some phantom or whatever the case might be. I would be absolutely surprised. Like I would want to bet some money on it. That business is not going to go away from partners. I think it's first class, maybe the thing that is going the way of the dodo.
so I think what's scary is it's not just Lufthansa, but he had said that Swiss and Austrian
That's
are
because
also gone because
it's
it's the
the
same
group,
group.
and
Yeah.
I think the group is making changes
Yeah.
behind the scenes with Star Gold. I mean, not Star Gold, Star Alliance network and availability and things like that. So I think there's some tweaking being done, which could result in business class going away for a few days or only showing up as married segments or whatever the case might be. Like I said, I would want to bet money that business class will not just it won't just go away. I
I
saw
think there's
plenty of Swiss and Lufthansa availability in and out of India, and I was checking for November, December, and literally checked 2 days ago. Didn't pull the trigger, but I saw plenty of availability, which tells me it's still there unless something changed past 1st of June, 1st of July, rather.
I think it's highly possible that Lufthansa wants to revamp Miles and More too. Well, obviously, like every other airline, to increase engagement with Miles and More, and they might do what United did, which is adjust the pricing across, partner airlines so that there's not such a huge arbitrage opportunity, let's say, to book with partner miles. Miles and More also charges surcharges. Aeroplan, doesn't. So I fully agree though. I do think business class will come back. I think first class, there's a high chance that it has just fully been taken off the board entirely. There was some phantom first class space showing up on United yesterday. that people were all excited about.
Hmm.
I saw one Reddit comment on r/award travel. Someone said they booked this space, but I have not seen any other confirmation. So I don't know if we take this as truth, but Matt from Live and Let's Fly It, like Matthew said that he couldn't book it in the blog post, and I
Look,
tried to ticket one and it didn't work.
there is truth, and then there's Reddit truth. So we'll slot it in the Reddit truth category. If only one person was able to book and suddenly nobody else can. That sounds very Reddit truth-worthy story.
But it is strange that this Phantom space showed up for like entire calendar on United. Like
Yeah.
it was opening for like November and December and
You
all kinds of
recall a
stuff.
couple of years ago when Swiss first suddenly popped up on Aeroplan? It was never meant to be.
Hmm.
Again, they were tweaking things in the backdrop when what's it called? Swiss's own program. They were changing award charts and whatnot. So that it popped up accidentally. And the exact same thing happened to, I don't know how many people remember when Singapore first or Singapore Suites popped up on Aeroplan a few years ago. So I feel like every time somebody is trying to tweak, make some changes, these exclusions somehow get erased from the system or have to be reactivated. And which is why we get these things. And this is the flip of that, which is a lot of these sort of exceptions go away and then have to be reactivated before we start seeing. So it's instead of leaking more into it, they're drying up everything while tweaking. And if I was them, I would do this rather than the other way around. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but at least they're not doing what Swiss did. That was, I
100%.
think, I don't know if unethical is the right word, but those Swiss tickets were fully ticketed.
Yeah. And
Like,
for
and that,
several days. And for
yeah,
several days.
and then they pulled it back and they canceled them. I don't think we see that very often. Usually the airline,
Yeah.
like if it's already ticketed, they'll just honor it and they won't ticket anymore.
And then
But
Aeroplan ended
this,
up paying a whole bunch of miles to
yeah.
people, like almost 30,000, 50,000 points or something like that was given to everybody that was booked. I think Sarah was one of them. We had Sarah on and she was explaining how she got that. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy that the partners took the brunt of that mistake. Uh,
Oh,
or
Jesui
just we,
say he said that he sees Lufthansa business class. Maybe it's back. I don't know. Try
yeah,
to ticket it.
yeah. So yeah, just we wrote in comments saying checking just now, seeing LHJ North America to Europe. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, this Lufthansa first will be a sad story if it really becomes a goner. And I hope that if they had to remove it, like, let's hope they only remove the North America ones because you would still have access to basically fly Europe to Asia or something like that, which would, I'm assuming, and this is a big assumption I know, that a lot of their first class seats get booked up by North Americans between North America, Europe, right? But I'd be surprised if that's the kind of traffic they see between Europe to, say, Middle East or those medium haul flights. I hope that medium haul first class still remains because that'll still be good enough for enthusiasts to, position yourself to Europe or wherever you're coming in and out of and still be able to experience Lufthansa first class terminal and all of that good stuff through points. Otherwise, it's a big devaluation, so to speak, like devaluation for a lot of the partners.
So that's actually what I was thinking too, and it wouldn't be a first, like it's not the first time an airline has done this either, which is solely block first class space
Yeah,
to North America. I
yeah,
think we see this a lot with ANA, the Japanese airline. There
yeah.
was a time when with Aeroplan you could only book to and from Europe, and
Cathay did that on and off
yeah,
for quite a few times.
yeah, exactly. To this day, you can book ANA first class, I think close to, no, business class, close to departure with your Virgin Atlantic miles only to and from Europe, but not
Hmm,
open to North America. So,
hmm, interesting. Yeah, it's always an ever-changing game. It's whack-a-mole, right? One goes away, something else pops up. You just have to keep digging in, keep doing your basics of collecting the miles, and there's enough opportunities that'll come up. And typically, this community is the one that's good at positioning, repositioning different places. If you really wanted to try out a specific product or an airline per se. Uh, Going back to status match, there was also another sort of softer partnership slash match opportunity with Aeroplan as they partnered with Club Avolta for rewarding airport spending. And I mean, the earned rate is not the greatest. It's one SQC or 1 point, one Aeroplan point for every $2 you spend, but that's not bad considering that some people can drop decent chunks at these duty-free stores, right? Uh, is there something else to this? I mean, it is a non-flying, again, a non-flying activity that you can do to earn SQC. And while it's good that they're bringing in more and more partners, my honest opinion, and I may have said this before, um, oh, I'll also have a small announcement to make after this, but my honest opinion is they really need to make the non-flying or the partner SQC earn category uh, a little more giving. Like right now, it's one SQC for every $5 spent with partners. It seems too high a barrier, but we would just have to wait and see what the numbers are that they are seeing and how many people are really tapping into that. Because as much fun as I have with LCBO, Uber, and all of those, and you have to spend some significant chunk of money to make any real returns on SQC from that category. Oh, there, Ojasvi is already trying to say that it's ticketing. Nice.
So I think I kind of agree. Aeroplan is doing one SQC. I think it's per five Aeroplan points earned. So to earn five Aeroplan points, that's like now $10 at Club Avolta,
Oh, that's
right?
correct. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, it's not one SQC. You're earning one Aeroplan point for
Yeah.
every $2 and for
So
every five Aeroplan. Yeah, yeah.
so I do think, yeah, it's a pretty high barrier to entry no matter how you kind of slice it. The other thing I think is, yeah, I kind of think that Aeroplan is focused on maybe the quantity of partners and not necessarily not the quality per se, but I'd rather see a much richer partnership with a few partners than,
100%.
like this kind of partnership with multiple partners, if that makes sense.
So yeah, that was the Aeroplan partnership with Club Avolta, which is a program for airport spending. And also airport spending and duty free doesn't mean that you can do that at every airport. Club Avolta has a decent coverage in here in North America and Europe as well, but I don't see much beyond North America and Europe. Rachel, did you get a chance or sense that there was a whole bunch in Asia or Middle East and
No,
things like that?
it's
Yeah,
it's it's mostly in North America, but not just that. Aeroplan specifically is only there's a list of seven airports that are
airports. Yeah,
eligible. So it's like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, Billy Bishop, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Chicago. Only these
Chicago.
airports
Yeah.
are going to qualify for your Club of Volta Aeroplan earning. But that being said, the Club of Volta status match is free. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't get that many perks with, Club of Volta Gold or whatever, but you get like up to 7% off on shopping and I think up to 5% off food and drink. And they're matching any airline, any hotel, any status, which basically they're just basically handing it out. So if
Mhm.
you're going to be shopping anyway, there's no reason not to sign up for the loyalty
Yeah,
program because sometimes
I
there's like exclusive discounts in there and stuff.
that's correct. So I did the link through Aeroplan, and yeah, you just have to add your Aeroplan number, and there is a dedicated link. Once you create or download the app for Club of Volta, look up partners, and you'll see Aeroplan. You click through there, and it'll allow you to punch in your Aeroplan number. And as soon as it does its background check that it's a true Aeroplan number with that name, uh, it will automatically do that match for you, which is pretty simple and straightforward. And like Rachel said, may not be for everybody and all the time, but it does have that feature where you can let it give you notifications if you're at eligible airports, which is nice. You don't even have to remember to open it. And as you're walking or landing at that airport, it might give you a little pop-up saying, "Hey, you might be able to earn something." So if you're looking to buy something, that's a decent notification piece. So their app is minimalist, bare bones, I would say, but at least does the basics really decently. The Club of Volta app, that is.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna probably sign up right after this. The thing that me and my partner like to buy is ice wine at the
Yeah,
Canadian
yeah,
Air Force. It makes for a great
nice.
gift if you're
Yeah, yeah,
like seeing friends or family in other countries. Because like somewhat unique to Canada and picking it up at duty free is really easy.
yeah. And if you're lucky enough, you may be able to sort of time it well with Amex offers when it allows you to do that at YYZ or other places where they have the Amex offer, right? I forget
Yeah,
whatever it is. Spend $60, get 30 back or something like
yeah,
that. You might be
exactly.
able
That
to
that
leverage that with it. Maybe giving away more than I need to, Rachel, but you're headed to Colombia and we had soon. And we had another news item that came through, which was United now launching direct flights to Cartagena, Colombia. Uh, and United already flew to Colombia, a couple of other destinations, but Cartagena is the first one, and another sort of direct route. Is it out of Chicago?
It's
I
out of
forget.
Chicago and
Right.
Houston, I
Oh, and Houston.
believe.
Nice.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's also year round, which is interesting.
Which is great. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was getting to, is that their announcement really complements Air Canada as well, because Air Canada already announced from Montreal and Toronto. So for at least this part of Canada, Eastern Board, you're really well connected to Colombia now. There's no reason to either, if you're looking to get to Central or South America, to not hit up Colombia if you can. And it seems like that destination is getting, I suppose, richly deserved attention now, because oftentimes getting to Central America would be on Copa only or through United, through Panama, I think would be a lot of the flight routings through Star Alliance. But now, as more and more of these connections are coming through, it could make for great stopovers and such as well. But at least you will be able to plan further ahead if you wanted to do Colombia and then further on.
No, Airplane will let you ticket it as a stopover. Only
Even
Canada and the US are banned
wait, so when they
on
say
the
North America, they don't even include Mexico?
no, no, no. You can stop over in Mexico. Specifically, they don't want you to
Ah,
have a home stopover because you can use it to like nest. I think that's the idea.
right.
Because if you have a
Yeah.
home stopover, you can like book your next flight, right? And then
Ah,
so you
I
can have a
never paid
stopover.
attention.
I noticed this once when I accidentally ticketed a stopover in Mexico. Like I wanted to have a 2 hour layover. I somehow accidentally ticketed myself a 26 hour layover, and it cost more points than I was expecting. I was like, why did I pay so much? And then I was like, oh, I could, you can do this. So you can ticket this as a stopover, which is really, really great,
Hey, even
especially
better. Yeah.
because again, United is running this year round, right? So if you're heading deeper into South America where the seasons, are flipped and
Hmm.
whatnot, and you're traveling in like the other season, basically, you can still use this. Um, I think
And
it's really
what
interesting.
aircraft are they using
It
to go
is
down there?
the 737. I think it's
That's
the
not.
Max, but they
Yeah,
said
that's not
737. Yes.
right. And Air Canada is also using the Max, right? On
I
that route.
I'm like I would be shocked if Air Canada was flying something other than a Max
Yeah, it's
because
not going to be a wide body, but
yeah,
I was just wondering if it's a 220, because that Airbus 220 would be a nice sort of upgrade from the Max. If I mean, Max is not bad, but 220 is much better.
yeah. So the interesting thing is United specifically said these planes are going to have the United Next interiors with like the in-flight entertainment and the Bluetooth monitors and whatever. So it's implied that at least these are going to be the like renovated Maxes or like the upgraded, 737 planes.
Yeah. Hey,
So
speaking of renovations and upgrades, did you read about the brand new 787-9s that United had featured with the new Polaris cabin and whatnot? They had sent it back because there was a whole bunch of issues. It came back and it's still there is issues with that aircraft. So I don't know what to make of it, but it sounds so typically Boeing issue right now. Anything touching Boeing or coming in and out of Boeing, quality control seems to be really poor at Boeing right now.
I don't even know what to say about that new aircraft because that's on top of Boeing's existing long-term issues, which is like the 777, the 777X that's supposed to have come out six
Oh yeah,
years ago now.
yeah.
And we're seeing airlines I don't know if retrofit is the correct word. We're seeing
Hmm.
airlines retrofit existing cabins with their new seats when they were all waiting to launch on the 777X because it just took so long that they're like, their planes are getting really old. They're like, we need a retrofit now instead of waiting for that.
And United is not alone. United actually, that 777X, United is first on that list to receive that aircraft as soon as it
Oh,
sort of is ready to deliver. Others like Cathay and them have been planning around that and keep postponing their stuff. Like have been doing. Cathay right now is supposed to get delivery of, could be wrong, but about 30, 36 of those 777X. And they've been waiting, like you said, for since COVID days. And they keep revamping. Aria Suites came through. Then the thing was, oh, we'll roll out Aria Suites really slow so that we can get the 777Xs in service. And Aria Suites, and now they've finally decided to hell with it. We'll just roll out more routes with Aria Suites. So they're doing the retrofitting. with a lot of these 777s, not the X's, the 777s otherwise with ARIA suites. So the good thing is we might see those newer routes with ARIA suites outside of just Vancouver and London or wherever else those 2, 3 routes are. But the sad news is that 777Xs, we may not even see them in service till like end of 27 or so, if that.
If
Um,
if even that. So I was really looking forward to Emirates getting their 777Xs because they're supposed to roll out their first class game changer suites on
mhm.
the 777Xs, and Emirates is really holding their ground on not retrofitting any of their existing planes with that. It's not even that new anymore, but with that like that's their flagship first class product, right? That's supposed to come out in all the like 777Xs, and now I mean they're still gonna do it, but the ironic part is by the time they get these 777Xs, the possibilities and the ways of booking Emirates first class has gone from like fairly easy to like extremely difficult.
Yeah. And they're not alone, right? Like that 777X is not the only impacted aircraft. Like 787-10s were supposed to come through and be in service early 2026 or late 2025. Now it's end of 2026 or whatever. And I was reading something from what are they called? Simple Flying, Simply Flying, or one of these aviation websites, and they were talking about how the 787-10s for on Air Canada, particularly because the XLRs came through, and 787-10s are the ones that are supposed to come with the 2.0 version of the glowing hearted design by Air Canada. Up until now, as we speak, it's still scheduled for late fall, winter, that kind of situation, so November and onwards kind of situation. Um, but the Air Canada apparently, and this I'm just quoting what I've read, not quoting, I'm just telling you what I read. Uh, they're 18th in the wait list for the 787-10s, and for the aircraft assigned to the airline, it hasn't even started being assembled or built, and we are in July. I don't know what the turnaround time is usually for these, but if you're 18th in the wait list and you haven't even started bolting up the plane to be built and assembled, uh, delivery in November seems very, very unrealistic. But what do I know? Maybe they'll make everything up in a month and deliver it uh, to Air Canada. But I'm just not as optimistic that Air Canada might get its 787-10s, but they are saying, I mean, Air Canada folks are pretty adamant that, yeah, it's on time and should be delivered late fall, but maybe something we can ask Scott if he has uh, some news from the ground for us, perhaps next week. But
I
yeah,
am
this
really
entire
curious to
Boeing
where Air
situation is
Canada.
getting ridiculous.
I would be really shocked if Air Canada receives those 787-10s with the glowing hearted thing by the end of this year. Like it's
Yes,
already July, and a bunch of airlines haven't gotten their 787-10s, like you
no,
said. So I'm
that's the
like,
thing. They are 18th, and Air Canada apparently is sitting 18th in that wait list of people that'll get. So I don't know. I mean, if we really start seeing United and a few others start announcing that, oh, look, we got our 787-10s, here's what it looks like, I may be then willing to believe that, oh, yeah, it's coming for Air Canada. But until we hear from a few other airlines, nobody has sort of showcased their 787-10s just yet. They're all just waiting still. I don't know whoever the first couple of airlines are to receive it, but it'll be interesting. Yeah, what comes from that.
it's interesting because we've seen Airbus have some problems too, not anything
Of
as
course.
major perhaps, right? But we had that issue with Qatar where Qatar kept saying their A350s had like problems, and then Airbus kept saying, no, it's just paint, like the paint is the problem.
I
And
don't
that
know
would,
about this paint issue. What's the paint
oh,
thing?
it was, I don't know what the actual issue was, but Qatar was saying there's something operationally wrong with the planes, like they're landing, they're in bad shape, like they look really rough for
Hmm.
how old they are and blah blah blah. And then Airbus kept saying it's not a real problem, just like, repainted and whatever. But it got to a point where Qatar grounded a bunch of these A350s, like in Doha, and they weren't flying. This affected their schedule for a long time. And
Hmm.
then I don't know what happened, but then the conflict started, and obviously Qatar did not need as many planes anymore, presumably.
Yeah.
So
Hey, speaking of conflict in Qatar, Qatar actually is running at a promo right now for 50% more Avios points if you fly them on cash booking, of course, either out of the Middle East or out of South Asia. So if anyone is looking to do like a quick earn, that might be a way to do it. That might also be a decent, if you are going to do a cash booking out of the Middle East or South Asia, uh, that might be a way to unlock your list as well, if you were
oh
to
yeah,
add
Andy.
somebody.
on the Qatar site.
Greg says, not to derail the blockage of Lufthansa, but I just did some searching on Aeroplan and believe the blockage of Lufthansa J is nothing bookable within 5 days, but awards further out are still bookable. I saw lots of flights on United, or on United mileage plan, that is, or mileage plus rather. But when using Air Canada, don't see much. However, outside of the 5 days, so starting July 10th and onwards, it does exist on Air Canada as well. Life miles still blocked. Am I not? Again, I'm not 100%. But just believe based on what I read. Yeah, and I mean, based on what you're saying, Greg, and what Ojasvi has presented in the chat, Ojasvi shared a screenshot of a ticket from, where was it?
JFK to Frankfurt on
JFK to
July
Frankfurt.
18th.
That's correct. So it kind of jives with what you're saying. Maybe something is not available imminently in the next 5, 6 days. But if you search a little bit further out, things were available. And Ojasvi's example for July 17th. Is from Aeroplan. So yeah, hopeful. Hey, JFK, last stream we did last week, I kind of mentioned that JFK routes on Air Canada from Toronto and Montreal may be a thing of the past. Like this is again aviation news. But while I was doing a whole bunch of searches a couple of days ago, or India and stuff, I saw quite a few flights in November and December positioning from Montreal into JFK and then onwards with United or whatever else. And Montreal to JFK and even Toronto to JFK were both on Air Canada metal. I don't think it's fully gone, or maybe it's just something where it's not available right
What?
now, but perhaps comes back.
I
Right?
thought Air Canada announced that they're pulling out of JFK
They
entirely.
did, but I don't think they announced that they were pulling JFK permanently. And that was
Oh,
the question, that if it's like a permanent decision that, yep, operationally, or an operational decision just for the summer or whatnot. So it remains to be seen, because the aviation website started saying that, oh, unfortunately, this might be a thing for good, that they're not coming back. But I'm still seeing married segments out of Montreal, especially out of Montreal, to JFK and onwards. Yeah, that same New Delhi search that I was doing, I was seeing a whole bunch from Montreal to JFK, JFK on United, I think, or maybe even Air India straight into New Delhi and things like that. So it was showing a whole bunch of options, but I was surprised to see Montreal JFK still popping up. I tried a couple on out of Toronto as well to see if Toronto was showing up, and it did pop up. Far less than what Montreal was showing, but it was still showing that. So, anyways, again, something that we will explore with Scott and get a real answer if it's a permanent decision or just something that they're doing in the meantime. And he
I
says,
was getting,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say it would be incredible if they lease those slots out to United, and that's how United returns to JFK at last, which we know they desperately want to get back to.
Didn't United do some shuffle with JetBlue as well for those slots in JFK?
There was rumors that United would buy JetBlue, and that's how they would
Oh,
get
that's
access
true.
to those
Yes,
slots.
yes, yes.
But then the United CEO seems to have said that they have no interest in buying JetBlue, which is
Right.
also a very interesting, statement.
Yeah, I remember
Uh,
covering it here maybe last year or some point, and I knew there was some
yeah,
United JetBlue play happening in JFK. But yeah, that makes more sense that it was
yes.
around taking over JetBlue operations completely. Uh, Andy says, I'm affected with JFK cancellation, so ANA first, JFK to Haneda is impacted in the suite. Any suggestions of what better to get as an exchange?
What do you
What
mean by JFK cancellations? Are flights being canceled out of JFK?
I no, I think Andy means that what is impacting it is just positioning to JFK directly for ANA first class.
Oh, the simplest answer is to fly a different airline like Delta or American. And because they still fly to JFK, at least from Toronto and maybe Montreal, but at least from Toronto. The other thing is you can fly in. I mean, there's not that many options. You can fly in earlier to a different airport and then land transfer basically to the other airport. I've done that multiple times. It's because from Ottawa, at least, it's really easy to get to Newark. It's not so easy to get to the other airports.
Can somebody check if there's a Halifax JFK as well? I know Halifax Boston exists, seasonal flight, but on American actually runs 2 or 3 routes in and out of Halifax to the eastern seaboard. And if JFK is part of it, that would be another option for you to position both with American, that is. Ojasvi said, oh, wait, sorry, before Ojasvi. Yeah, YYZ to JFK was canceled. Yeah, for positioning, I'm trying to get something via Atlantic to Emirates or someone else.
So
Ojasvi,
I would definitely just change my positioning flight and keep my ANA first class, unless there's a reason that you really want to fly Emirates. Like that would be a whole, to me this is like a separate problem. Like if you want to fly Emirates or if your JFK flight was canceled, because this the second one is much easier to resolve. If you just want to fly Emirates, then you have to change your whole ticket, right?
yeah, I think Andy's thing is because he's trying to do it for someone else, that someone else may not be as flexible in terms of pivoting in and out of pivoting in and out or positioning just to get to JFK and whatnot.
It's
Ojasvi
actually
says it'll have to be a separate ticket if you don't want to do an airport change, 100%.
Yeah, I will say that moving across New York is actually not too difficult if you don't want to pay the ridiculous Uber prices or whatever. There's like the shared shuttles that'll normally run between all the airports that I've done before. It's like,
I've
I don't
done it
know.
once. It's just so long and
Yeah,
boring and disgusting that it's just like, yeah, basically is
it takes a
takes you
while.
through neighborhood after neighborhood around JFK and otherwise before it gets you into where you want to. And correct me if I'm wrong, I did it once, maybe a few years ago. It literally took me more than 90 minutes on that bus. Is that not still the case?
It took me like 80 minutes on the bus once with some
Oh, 10
traffic,
minutes
but
saved.
yes, yeah. No, you're totally right. But this is ANA this week. Assuming you booked this on Aeroplan, you this may not happen again for you. Right. So
Yeah, we speak and we've spoken about this that we don't often talk about uh, this part of the journey when we talk about, oh, I booked ANA suite using my Aeroplan or whatever else the case might be. We don't talk about this part, going 80 or 90 minutes in a bus from neighborhood to neighborhood before you actually land and try and be, oh, first class passenger.
So
Uh,
I do think the easiest would be to position on Delta or a separate ticket into JFK. Like that would be,
yeah,
if you're coming from Toronto, that would be by far the easiest option.
yeah, for sure. Hey, looking at time, couple of more minutes to the game. So let's just finish up our chat with Flying Blue promo rewards that came through for July. No big gateways out of North America, but because we were talking JFK, that just triggered my memory. JFK to it's Air France, so JFK to Paris was available for 45,000 Flying Blue. There wasn't a lot of availability, but as soon as it was announced, I double checked and closer to sort of early November, I think, end of October, early November, there was some availability. So if you guys are looking for something out of JFK into Europe for super cheap. 45,000 is amazing. And I also clubbed that with the JFK all the way to Mumbai so JFK, CDG, Mumbai. And the entire thing was ticketing for 90 or 95,000 because the same Flying Blue promo reward is also available from Paris going to Mumbai and Delhi for cheap. So combining those two, it was actually combining the promo rewards and giving it to you for 95,000 all in business class. And both of them were in the A350s, which is fantastic.
That is a great redemption, honestly, for
Yeah,
95,000. Even though the fuel surcharges have gone up, I would
I
say
would
that
take it.
it's
I think it
still
was
really good.
the fuel surcharges. I mean, they were high, but wasn't like I think I saw something around 400 something when it was ticketing it
Really?
going all the way through. Yeah, but US, right? So
Oh, because
USD.
it's US. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
you're still paying about 650 bucks Canadian
Yeah.
to go. But
And also, Canadian airports have higher taxes. So if you're departing out of like one of the Canadian airports, it's going to be significantly higher actually too.
yeah, I
Like
think
'cause
that
you're leaving JFK.
350 or so is out of Canadian airports
Oh,
into
okay.
Europe.
Yeah.
But this
Okay.
was 400 something all the way through, so which wasn't bad. But
I
at
think
least,
this is one of the best promo rewards in the past 3 months because for the
yeah,
past 2 months, we didn't even see any business class
yeah, correct.
North America promo rewards.
Yep. And I think there's something on in premium economy as well. A couple of routes out of premium economy. But you know what I found was, again, while doing some searches, KLM out of Montreal is just the worst aircraft. I think still flying their older 222 in business class in some of the cases.
They're still flying that out of Toronto. Like they flew that last week and they flew it today,
And
like at KLM's
seriously, yuck. Like
A330.
what? Why? Uh, so yeah, just caution that if you see something out of Toronto or Montreal on KLM, just plenty of caution that it'll be a 222 older product. It will not be your newer KLM business class that is showing up. In fact, KLM just introduced their brand new business class as well, which they're flying without their business class because still waiting for seat certification, and it is going to Toronto, right?
Yeah,
So
I
it's
was about to say that. It's
only
just a matter of
economy on that.
time. A matter of time when those business class seats get certified, the newest KLM business class will be in Toronto. Yeah,
Right.
that's the one flying to Toronto. Okay,
That's
this will
correct.
be
Oh,
great.
so it's not the 787-9s.
Yeah.
It's the
But
A350-9s. Yeah.
once these seats are certified, Toronto is gonna be good. But for now, it's really not so good.
Greg says, as we're talking about Flying Blue, I just made a last minute redemption on WestJet ticket, which made for a great redemption. Yeah, and actually we've spoken about this. In fact, Rachel may have written in a previous version of that Flying Blue promo reward that some of the best redemptions are to use Flying Blue to book Delta or WestJet and things for North America and still gets a great pricing on it.
Flying Blue on WestJet, I think, is a very underrated redemption, especially for those on the West Coast. Like I see you're, based in Victoria. Like I have a
Mhm.
couple friends out west who are constantly redeeming Flying Blue on WestJet. The value is pretty hard to beat.
But all right, folks, let's log off and enjoy your weekend. And we'll be back here next Saturday. Until then, Rachel, thank you so much. This was fun
Yeah,
as always.
this fun. Bye.
Cheers.